One astronomer described it as a curtain of doom, and suddenly you're immersed in the shadow. When you see a total eclipse, you will realize for the first time what the meaning of awesome is.
Bailey's beads! Totality!
Because an eclipse is awesome. Everything else is mundane.
Hello, friends. That was a Time interview with astronomer Fred Espenak, otherwise known as Mr. Eclipse. An eclipse is awesome. Everything else is mundane. And that interview was from 7 years ago. But if you've ever seen a solar eclipse anytime, long ago or recently, it's very likely you saw it, at least in part, because of Fred Espenak. And the world's community of astronomers is sad this week due to Fred's passing on June 1st. We wish his family our deepest condolences. And I'm honored to be here today with Fred's friend and writing partner of recent years, Michael Zeiler. Michael, you're an eclipse chaser. What is so special? What is so special about seeing a total solar eclipse?
Well, Fred was a perfect exemplar of the majesty of a total solar eclipse. If you saw any presentations by Fred, he was infectious. Not only was he deep into the technical details of the eclipse, he was able to communicate the emotional impact of the eclipse and why it is such a stunning sight that everyone should try and see at least once in their lifetimes. So Fred was a giant, and we will miss him dearly.
And so he was a hero to many of us, and he chased eclipses. Did you know him when he was young and he just was getting started in it?
Well, I didn't exactly know him when he was young, but I had read his publications for decades. In the late 1980s, he published a book, The 50-Year Canon of Solar Eclipses. Shortly after shortly after it was published, I purchased that book. And so, and when I received that book, I was amazed that eclipses could be predicted so far in the future with such accuracy. Little did I know that I would be embarking on that journey myself. But so I didn't know Fred, of course, when he was young, but I was touched by him for a number of decades. And it was my honor and privilege to get to know him in recent years.
And so do you have a favorite memory of Fred?
I've been on 3 eclipse expeditions with Fred, and whenever you hear Fred speak in a presentation, it's a masterclass of science communication. That not only does he educate you about the science of eclipses, but he conveys the deep human drama that comes with each eclipse, the alignment of sun, moon, and you, and just the majesty of the most beautiful sight you'll ever see.
That's amazing. So let's talk about those eclipse trips. So what was that like? Like, where would you go?
Well, this is a trip we were on to Australia. What was interesting about this eclipse, it was a very short duration eclipse, just under 1 minute long. But for serious eclipse chasers, we're ready to go anywhere in the world, even for a few seconds of totality. It's that dramatic of an event. And a 30-second eclipse is just as memorable as a 6-minute eclipse. We were also together in Indonesia, and that was a beautiful eclipse. And for that eclipse, we had to relocate the ship's location because of some threatening clouds, but we found success and had just a glorious time together. We also traveled with Fred to Antarctica. This was a makeup trip because we were originally planning to go to Antarctica for a total solar eclipse, but that trip got scotched because of COVID. But Fred, Pat, my wife, and I managed to go the following years, and the amazing thing about eclipse travel is that it takes you to the most beautiful places on Earth. And so not only do we enjoy the majesty of the most dramatic sight you'll see, but we also see beautiful remote locations around the world. So it's truly a enriching experience. Boats are a great way to see eclipse. Boats give you a couple of advantages. The key advantage of a boat is mobility, so that if the clouds threaten one area, the ship's captain has actionable intelligence to steam to a different location. And that's happened a couple of times.
So let's look at this for a second, because Fred is often known as Mr. Eclipse, and he has just so many pages of eclipse information and other sorts of information about astronomy online. Do you know what's going to happen to the Mr. Eclipse website? I mean, is somebody going to take it over, or like what's going to happen to the the eclipse calculations? Was Fred still doing them, or was he retired, or
Oh
what's the
no,
story on that?
Fred was working towards the very end. He had just in recent months published a couple of more guides for eclipses in, I believe, 2028 and 2045. So he was active to the end. About the future of his eclipses, I'm in touch with his wife, Pat Espenak, and Pat needs some time to grieve. But after
Yeah.
after a period of time, I'm going to work with Pat and ensure that his websites and his publications remain available to the public. So one way or
Oh,
another, we'll make it happen.
I'm so glad to hear that. That's great. We were, because we use them too. I mean, Marcy Curran, who works on our night sky information at earthsky.org, was saying to me this morning that when something happens, like a meteor shower, say, she will go to
Mhm,
Fred's site as soon as the meteor shower is over and get the information for the next year. So,
mhm.
we would be sad if Fred's information weren't there. So,
Yeah, so many eclipse chasers have used Fred's publications and his websites since the 1980s. Since the 1980s, Fred has been the authoritative source for information about eclipses. So it leaves a huge hole in the community. Um, and there's no getting around that. But we'll ensure that his legacy endures, and some of us will also carry on his work and take eclipse information for the public to new heights. So that's actually underway.
yeah, and I just wanted to put up a couple of the comments, that sorts of comments. I mean, there are hundreds of comments online from people who are, who know about Fred's work and who have used his information to see eclipses, and who really are going to miss him. So this is just one of them. Here's another one. Let me move us to the side here. Who can possibly take his place? So we're sad that he's gone, but he'll sure live on. And by the way, I just want to mention that he didn't just do solar eclipses, he did lunar eclipses too, and was a fantastic eclipse photographer. This is one of his lunar eclipse images. So,
Yeah, Fred also had a passion for astrophotography. So one of his websites is called astropixels.com. And this website highlights both his imagery of solar and lunar eclipses, but he also had a very impressive observatory at his home in Arizona, and created some stunning imagery of galaxies and nebulas and other treasures of the sky.
and let me just show one more eclipse image of Fred's. So this is a Fred image of a solar eclipse. And that this is something that he said at the very end when he knew he didn't have long to live. He wrote on Facebook, I wish those I leave behind many more years of clear eclipses and awe for the heavens. And that's just so beautiful and very cool. So Michael, thank you so much for being with us today. We really appreciate you taking the time on this, sad occasion, but it's great to hear about Fred, and I'm glad to know that his websites will continue and his work will continue.
Yes, and we, although it's a sad occasion, we can celebrate an amazing and impactful life and be grateful for the legacy that Fred has left behind.
Thank you so much. For today, that's our show.
My pleasure.
Thank you. I'm Deborah Byrd. One Earth, one sky, EarthSky.